Welcome in the ring, folks. A very good night to each and every one of you. And you know, when you join, we ask that you share the live stream. And let's get started as quickly as possible, folks. Welcome in the ring again. And we're going to give some of you a chance to join us. As you know, guys, in the ring is where we contend with ideas. We confront the brutal facts, we dismantle misinformation, we oppose prejudice and stereotypes, and we destroy all outdated worldviews. So welcome, folks. And I have a co-host with me this evening, and it's none other than 𝗫 Gonzalez. 𝗫, am I pronouncing your surname correctly?
Yes. At least you didn't say Gonzalez like the rest of the people here in this country.
They probably think you're from Mexico. And folks, 𝗫 is joining us from the diaspora. And 𝗫 is going to be my co-host this evening. And on a couple of the other shows, 𝗫 is going to help me manage things at this end. 𝗫, how's it going where you are? You can tell us a general area where you are currently and how is it going there?
It's pretty quiet. Actually, I just got back from Guyana on Friday last. I spent the Christmas and New Year's there. So, but I've been indoor, basically, you know, quarantining after I've returned. So it's pretty quiet here, though. I'm actually visiting my my grandmother in New Jersey, but I live on the West Coast in Seattle.
Excellent. So you're in Trump country and it's quiet? Something wrong.
Well, where I am is very quiet. I mean, the television, you know, I hear the noise there.
Excellent. So guys, as we're coming on, we're right in our Hot Topics segment. Believe it or not, we're in our Hot Topics segment, and we got a couple of things that we want to discuss with you guys this evening. So you've joined us just in time. And for those of you who are now joining us, you know, we always say when you come on, you have to share, whether you pick us up on Twitter, you have to retweet. If you pick us up on YouTube, because we're streaming there too, you have to subscribe and like and love. And if you pick us up on Facebook, guys, you gotta use all your emojis, comment, and you gotta share and reshare. So folks, welcome again. In the ring with me tonight is my co-host 𝗫 Gonzalez. She's gonna help take us through some of these issues. And the first thing we're touching on is the Henry boys. We're touching on the Henry boys, and we see that they are about to charge 3 persons with the gruesome murder of the Henry boys. And I'm a little skeptical there. 𝗫, what do you think?
I have the same skepticism like most of the people. We know that I would want to put it out on a limb there that, you know, the persons that are being charged for that murder are probably not guilty. And I think it's a rush job. Well, not even rush, because it's been a long time since those guys were murdered. Is it September?
Yes, September of last year.
So it's already 5 months since those young men were murdered, and we're yet to come to a conclusion on who are the killers. Yes. So they're trying to, you know, to save face, pin any old persons for that murder.
And you know, you're absolutely right. And that is the thought of so many Guyanese, because, you know, as you said, it took such a long time and it seemed not to be after a very good start in getting this stuff done. And then we see, you know, they're now telling us that they're about to charge 3 persons, one of whom is a prisoner escapee. It seems as though something sounds amiss here. The first person is a gentleman named Vinod Maga Gopal. I think Maga is his call name. And then the other person is Anil Tampui Sanchara. And the third person is Akash Monkey Singh. I mean, I'm wondering if this is monkey business here. That's a first thought in my head. Is this monkey business?
Well, the Guyana police force failed to do their investigation in the beginning stages of this crime. And now they basically have little to no evidence on who would have murdered those young men. So I'm puzzled as to how they come up with these persons to charge them for that murder.
Well, you know, and we're getting a lot of the comments on Facebook. For instance, somebody's telling us here that it seems as though the innocent is paying for the guilty. Rowena Cummins, that's her thought. It seems as though the innocent is paying for the guilty. And then we have Samantha Carter, who's telling us that something is not adding up here. I mean, that's how I feel personally when I hear about this issue. Something is definitely not adding up.
And the feeling is not isolated. It's, you know, from the small man to, you know, important people have basically the same thoughts.
Something is not adding up. Yeah.
That it's not making sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, who is this 𝗪𝗵 𝗪𝗶 and Anil Champoy Sanchara and Akash Monkey Singh? I mean, Maga and Champoy and Monkey. I mean, like, what really? Right? It doesn't make any sense to us, but we are looking to see what else comes out of this, because in this 𝗪𝗪 report, it says that the police have overwhelming evidence. I think I saw that somewhere in this reporting by, yes, a strong and compelling evidence, very strong and compelling evidence the police force is said to have. So we are watching to see what happens here.
The police force always have strong, compelling evidence, but at the end of the day, they can't, you know, present those evidence in the court, and guess what happens? The case is thrown out.
Well, that is the very last thing we want. We
don't want that
at all. Justice must be served. Whoever is responsible for the brutal murders of these guys, justice must be served. The next issue, Nia, comes a little closer to where you are, because we saw a very historic impeachment of President Donald Trump just, I think it was yesterday.
Yesterday.
You might know more about this than me.
And I'm sure you know as much as I do, or even more.
So, go ahead, Nia.
Donald Trump was impeached for the second time. Very historic. I think that, you know, his impeachment was due, because we all know what happened on January 6th. Those people were about to probably assassinate some of the congressmen and women. So, and it was because of Donald Trump's incitement that happened. So his impeachment, and we understand now that, you know, impeaching him at this point of his presidency, where it's already ended, basically, would prevent him from receiving a pension and his travel allowance of $1 million. So I would love for that to come to fruition. You know, like they need to get it. They need to get it done.
Oh, and part of what we've what we've seen since then is that the international media seem to have gotten exactly what they wanted. We see across the international scene, that's all the international newspapers have talked about, this impeachment of Donald Trump. So we are following that and to see where it goes. And I believe even if it mightn't pass the Senate, that it's a very symbolic move. And I'm certain he can sleep comfortably at night, because it's historic and it's not for a very good reason at all.
No, it's not for, and also apart from the impeachment, Trump is being fired from a lot of his jobs and stuff, you know, like, well, not from his jobs, from his contracts are being taken away. We see a lot of sanctions. He's being sanctioned left, right, and center. All of the social media accounts and stuff are being banned, and I think it's a little too late, because basically the damage has been done. The damage has been done. He got what he wanted. His people got what they wanted, despite now they're going to face the consequences. They did what they wanted to do, and it's a bit too late. I mean, Facebook and those other guys, Twitter and those other guys should have acted on that a bit earlier. I mean, since Trump has been spewing lies that the election has been fraudulent, those things should have happened.
Exactly. And you are absolutely correct. It's a little too late. I saw Instagram would have banned him, and Twitter and Facebook, and what is the other one? There's another
Snapchat,
one. Snapchat.
all of them have banned him.
Yes, this is about
before he even created a TikTok account. He's gotten banned from TikTok too.
Yeah, and this is about 20 days in his presidency, and now everybody's coming out. And even some of the Republicans who are talking seems, you know, to wait till the last minute when they both gonna fall, as we would see here.
Yeah.
That is the challenge.
The rats are jumping off of the boat. It's a bit too late, though. It's a really... Trump has damaged the Republican Party. But this is America, and anything happens. People vote for the worst. Really, truly.
Well, we saw
Trump has gained a lot of votes, even though he has done so many terrible things in his time in office.
We saw that firsthand, that, you know, it was one issue after the next. We had a first impeachment. This is the second one. And we saw, you know, the Mueller investigation and so many other things come and go. Trump's treatment of women, Trump's treatment of immigrants, children separated from their families, you name it. Trump did it. Trump administration did it.
Yeah.
And now to an issue close at home. Were you going to come in there, Nia? I don't want to.
No. You go ahead.
Yeah, an issue close at home. We see coming out of this report from the 𝗪𝗵ощ Harbor Bridge that they are going to disciplinary actions are going to be laid to those staff members who would have done any infraction there. And one of the persons who a lot of attention came to bear on is the general manager of the 𝗪𝗵ощ Harbor Bridge. And he, it is said, would have bought some or approved over $800,000 for a gold bracelet. And so we are following this to see what is the outcome.
Well, this is an issue I would not like to touch on. It's a very personal issue to me. I cannot touch on it. All
right,
because it's a person. Yes, I have relations to the general manager, so I would not go there.
Great, but yes. and you know, this is one of the things I've said initially on this particular matter, is that we see some egregious things with lots of persons, and the way the media has fed into the frenzy of this issue, I really am looking forward to see what becomes of that. And I don't want to put you on the spot by any means, so let's...
That's an issue I'm not going to touch on publicly at all.
Yeah. Another issue that makes the hot topic segment this evening is the issue of just coming on. We learned that the 𝗁𝗑𝐶𝐵 has been blocked from entering the National Stadium by none other than the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mr. 𝗪𝗵ощ. And Mr. 𝗪𝗵ощ said that they would have tried to vilify a sporting activity that was held there recently, and what they said about the ground and the fact that they are an illegitimate body, they cannot use the stadium anymore.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back, PPP.
I mean, the 𝗁𝗑𝐶𝐵 has had many issues, even, you know, in our time in office and stuff. They've had many issues, but I'm not sure about, you know, blocking them from entering the ground and all of that. And, you know, I really don't know much about this issue. I barely brush over something Raul Tony had on his page about this issue tonight, but I don't know much about what is going on there.
Well, let me bring you up to speed since you're in the last.
Thank you.
So there was a football match held recently by Kashif and Shanghai at the Providence Stadium. And after the match was completed, the 𝗁𝗑𝐶𝐵 claimed that the pitch was left in a very bad state. It was badly damaged, and the field and so forth. 𝗪𝗵ощ went down there with the media and said, no, it was not so. The pitch was almost in perfect state. And now this is the backlash to the 𝗁𝗑𝐶𝐵. They turned up there to do something, and lo and behold, the gate is closed. I mean, this is how, and they cannot enter. This is
no,
how
that is too much hierarchy there, man. That's too much hierarchy there.
I wonder if this is a government, or is this a cake shop that we run in? I mean, once you say to the 𝗁𝗑𝐶𝐵, by way of correspondence or some meeting or something.
Letters and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, emails have been invented, right? WhatsApp invented, the phone system has been invented. You got to wait till you turn up at a gate and then to realize you're persona non grata.
Yeah, I mean, and that's their standard of operation, basically. You know, that's how they've been behaving for the last time they've been in office, and now it's even worse. For the people who've elected them, I hope that you're happy.
I love that. Well, I don't know if you're seeing some of these comments on the string, as we see the comments on Facebook, especially. I mean, I hope you guys, you PPP guys who come and view this program, I hope you are happy, as Nia says, quote unquote. We hope you are happy. So
yeah, I hope that they're happy.
We're watching to see where this goes. Another issue in the ring following. Another issue we are following is this issue of $100 million contract that has been awarded to a company that nobody seems to know about. Compliments of the bishop. We know the Vera, we just don't know this company. That's the challenge that we're having.
Nobody I can see on the container in the photo you attached there, Mark Vera. You know, so the company is very much related to them, and we can see the person speaking with the bishop is very much a Vera. So
yeah, so it was
everybody got to get a slice of the pie. You don't just go on a platform and get nothing, you know, according to these people. So everybody's getting paid and rewarded now, and we knew that this was going to happen. No one was doing anything genuinely for the PPP. They were doing that so that they can be rewarded in the long run. Like not like us who were, you know, sweating and losing sleep genuinely. None of their supporters were doing so genuinely.
And it was former Public Infrastructure Minister David Patterson who recently criticized the award of this road contract in what he said is an inexperienced company. The company's name is, you see, I don't even know that. It's somewhere here in my notes. It's Vera 66 something.
It's right on the container.
Vera 66 Logistics. That's the name of the company. Vera 66 Logistics.
Man, they could have been more creative with the name, though. Come on.
Nia, I've gone through, for instance, all of the company listed under the Georgetown Chambers of Commerce. I can't see Vera 66 Logistics. So
they're not even there. They're not even properly registered, I assume.
I checked every article on the internet. There is no mention of this company besides in this particular article. This Vera 66. I've checked Facebook to see if there's a Facebook page, Vera 66 Logistics. I can't find anything on Facebook. I can't find anything on LinkedIn. I can't find anything on Twitter. So this company seems to have just appeared with the appearance of the PPP administration, the fraudulent PPPC administration.
And you know what's funny? They were the ones who were kicking up a storm about the previous government awarding contracts to any old person, which wasn't the case, we know. But and here they are awarding contracts to a company that just pop up out of the blue, just drop from the sky. And that's something that no one in Guyana did. I call them the guardian of democracy, and all of these people
maybe
very tight. Are very tight-lipped now, and I cannot understand that. If you're a guardian, you're a guardian for PPP's democracy or a guardian for the democracy of the country. Well, we know the answer to that, but the tight-lippedness of these people now, and how quiet they are. The quietness is deafening me, really. I cannot understand it. I can't understand it. I don't know what's happening. And I've actually shut myself down a little bit from answering people on Facebook and all of that. I am not giving too much energy to those people anymore. I mean, it's really sad. It is really sad.
So
I of course have my grievance with the opposition too.
So we can get into that in another program. So Our former Minister of Infrastructure, David Patterson, asked, he said it would be interesting to learn how they were able to meet the pre-qualification requirements for such a technical project. But this project is worth $100 million. And this takes us into our next segment, which we ask people to try to figure out who do we not say good night to tonight. So it's good night to all except a good night to all except. So folks who are watching, you're joining us on Twitter, retweet, you're joining us on YouTube, subscribe, you're joining us on Facebook, share, like and share, folks. I see some other folks are going to join us in a minute. We're going to bring them into the conversation shortly, as soon as we come past this segment. So folks, who do you think we are going to say good night to except this particular person? And I kind of give it away just now, so I hope you guys have been following. I hope you are following. Good night to all except
the bishop.
I'm looking for some of the comments. I'm going to share some of the comments just in a minute. I'm looking for some of the comments, folks. Let me see some of those comments that you guys have. And we'll see if Nia is right. I'm actually looking for the graphic. I seem to have lost my notes at my end here. I swear to God we had the graphics. Let me see if I have that. I'm willing to take some of the comments. Let me see some of the comments persons have been putting up. Good night to all except, oh Lord. Some folks are already on it. They're saying the bishop. Some are saying, except the bishop. You see, somebody says the PPP surrogates on the live. All right, guys, I'm still looking at some of the comments and I'm trying to get the graphic. I swear to God we had this graphic just at hand. And we're gonna bring in our other guests shortly. Well, apparently not. But you guys are absolutely right. We are talking about the bishop, the Fisher bishop, because in that piece, something he said really stood out. He said that when contacted, this is according to the report, the Minister of Works, 𝗁 𝗂𝗓, asks if the government should continue a regime of discrimination. That's what he said. Whether the government should continue a regime of discrimination. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Means that he's saying that the 𝗪𝗵cie government discriminated against contractors and only awarded contracts to certain people. But this company that was never in formation, I don't understand how it would have gotten any contracts.
I don't even know. Yeah,
that man lives in a bubble.
Well, folks, let's move along, and I'm going to make up for not having that graph. I don't know where it is. We head to our other segment this evening, which is what we call Close Up, where we focus. We get up close to a particular issue, and this evening we are talking about this cabinet visit to Linden. That is the next segment in the ring, Close Up, and we're going to be talking about that. So let's bring in the folks who are joining us for this issue. Let's spare no effort and let us welcome them in the ring even now. We are joined by Mr. Deron Adams, and we are also joined by 𝗁𝗪cie. Guys, welcome.
Hi, Sharad. Thank you for having me again in the ring.
Thanks for being here. As you know, I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but Deron Adams is the regional chairman. Am I right?
Yes.
Good. I just want to make sure I got my information correct. And 𝗁𝗪cie is a member of parliament. Am I right? An employee of the Ministry of Local Government.
𝗁𝗪cie is one lucky chap, you know, to be the 1 in a million to keep his job.
I don't know for how long.
Guys, so we had this visit of the cabinet to Linden. What is happening here? I don't want to talk too much. Anybody just jump in and start firing off. Mr. Chairman.
All right, Sharon and listeners, thank you for allowing me on your program. I'm trying to still get myself set up here. But, the government would have mentioned that they had this engagement. I was shocked and surprised that they would have selected Region 10 first. So I quickly recognized that I believe that maybe there was some ulterior motive, something sneaky.
Something amiss. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that has never happened in the past. Region 10 has always been neglected. We were always pushed aside because, of course, we pro APNU AFC. And so I was taken aback. Nevertheless, I accepted the call, the invitation. I wanted to be there because at no point in time, I believe our people, our base, the room should be left open for persons coming in, especially those representing the other side, the government, to not be monitored. And so in Region 10, as you know, we always look out for each other. We're very keen on what happens here, mindful. This is the bedrock of the PNC. And so anybody coming into the region, our antennas are up. And so I thought it fit to go, to listen, to give remarks, to highlight the plight, the social and economic issues that have occurred, the negative problems that we're faced with since the administration has taken the reins of power. You know how that came about. And we indicated to them our dissatisfaction in how certain things are happening. Just today, I got a report that 20 persons from the St. John's Brigade will likely be on the unemployment line. They have received notices that they will be knocked off. And so I wanted to make sure that I was there to listen, first of all, to ensure that some of the things that started under the coalition would have been given prominence, given priority. The synthetic track that hasn't been completed, and the many other projects, issues with land. We're hearing that residents are being told to return their receipts, land that was issued under the APNU AFC. And we have said clearly that we will not be entertaining any such conversation. Persons who would have received land under the previous government, we're telling them to go ahead and build. Do not return any receipts. Do not accept any refunds, because Guyana has and Region 10 has too much land. And so I just basically wanted to make sure that a level of representation on the part of the RDC was robustly, and a presence was there that we could defend the position that we have taken. Now, one of the things I would have mentioned is that we would have made submissions, we would have done our community awareness project, and flowing from that, we would have submitted information that we thought would have been included in our budget to date. And we, just 24 hours ago, I would have received that information. We have not received any information on, for example, the health budget. The RHO has not provided any information to the council. He has been preparing this budget in isolation, and I think it's very offensive. We are the policymakers. We did our community outreach, and so being there today was to send a message that we are not satisfied with how things are going. We feel that we have been neglected, that a lot of the submissions that were made, that our colleagues like Ganesh will have to, and our MPs like Mr. Figueroa will have to defend in Parliament, is not necessarily a true reflection of the will of the people. And so I thought it fit to be there to highlight to them what is happening in the region.
Fantastic. Mr. Chairman, I noticed in an exchange, I think, with you and the president, he said that we must put politics aside. That struck me, because this is the same PPP who firing people left, right, and center from the public sector. This is the same PPP who said there's no honest interlocutors on our side. This is the same PPP that says that prosecuting a whole set of folks from the ministry, from GCOM. He said politics should end when the elections end. I find those comments very, very strange. Member of Parliament, Chairman has joined us.
Yes, indeed, because you know, you can't say one thing and then you have persons doing something else. I have been, as I said, engaging our people. A lot of the issues that you, and a lot of the submissions that we have made is because of consultation that we would have had with our people. And so we see a lot of the things that
turn down there.
Getting a feedback. Yeah, we see a lot of the things that have been happening in the region here, you know, being done in a discriminatory manner. Look at the COVID-19 disbursement that was made. Many residents in Region 10 did not
Mr. Adams,
receive it. They did not.
Let's get the audio right. Somebody's device playing some music, so we might want to sort that out. All right, great. Great, yes, sir.
Yeah, so many of the persons did not receive the COVID-19 cash grant here in the region. And those are some of the issues we thought would have been addressed today. We have persons who were dismissed from the bauxite company. There's no indication of what will happen to those people. All of the land, the farmland that has been held up at NISIL, nothing has been happening. LEN, financing for small businesses. And I mentioned that today in my presentation. A number of small businesses have tried to access funds. The board has been dissolved, apparently. Nobody knows what is happening. Under the coalition, 150 million was pumped into the Linden Enterprise Network. People are benefiting from loans. We had investors coming. We had the call center was refurbished. We had pumped over 30 million. Or 50 million, I think it was, 300 persons who are on the verge of being employed. We have heard nothing. And so we're disappointed, but I hope that, you know, somehow we will be able to, through representation, be able to get their attention, and they will speak to improving the social and economic well-being of our people here in Region 10.
MP, 𝗪𝗵cie 𝗜𝗵𝗴.
Thank you, Sharon.
Hey.
I paid very close attention to the visit by the illegal, illegitimate, fraudulent, installed squatters as they went to Region 10. And I think the people of Region 10 sent them a very clear message from that very photo that we're seeing on screen. A clear message was sent that yes, the people of Region 10 agree that they are fraudsters, they are installed, they are basically wearing borrowed robes, and their time is near. Their days are counted, and they should know that. The thing is, you have a duplicitous set of people. They're very wicked, to say the least. You cannot be controlling the wheel of power and say one thing to the people of this country, and then your actions are different. We should not tolerate that. I am actually happy that Mr. Deron Adams took the time out to go and represent his people of Region 10. Even though I know he accepts and agrees that they are illegal and illegitimate, he took the opportunity to still represent because that is what he was elected to do. And I must commend you for that, Brother Adams. I know it may not rest well with some people, but you have to look at it in the context of which it happened. And because as the regional chairman, you don't control the coffers and you don't have direct access to the treasury, I can understand your presence, though I know it was done with a heavy heart. The point you have to note is that not only is Region 10 facing that dilemma of not getting their projects included in budget 2021, but it's happening in Region 4 and it's happening in Region 7 also. When Region 8 is a separate case all by itself.
Yeah.
Because Region 8 doesn't have a council that is sworn in to represent the will of the people. But let me focus my discourse on Region 10 for tonight, since we have in the house Deron and Jermaine. And let me tell you that the people of Region 10 should not be misguided nor fooled. These barbaric individuals, they have one thing up their sleeve, and that is hoping to get back into power when the elections are formed, because elections are imminent. And I know I'm seeing on the screen 4 days to elections petition. And that is a critical point that we have to talk about on this very program. But for now, I want to let the 10 people know that the illegal, illegitimate, fraudulent, notorious wannabe president is saying one thing to the people of Guyana, and his people that he has with him there, they are doing something else. Take, for example, he was the one who said $25,000 for all public functions. Then you had Sukrishna Lal Pasha, who is the finance secretary, saying not all public servants will get it. You have him saying that politics must stop and we must work as a team, but yet Dharamlal is deciding who is going to control the regional councils and who is going to control the regions, even though the people voted in the region resoundingly for one thing. You have public servants being fired left, right, and center. Over 1,000 people of one ethnicity dismissed. And you are telling me that you want the politics to stop? You are nothing but a hypocrite. And your hypocritical behavior is cemented in the actions of the people that you have installed as ministers of this government. But you are sitting in borrowed times. You are sitting in a borrowed robe. And you will have to give it up. Because we know, especially in the national count, that fraud was found out. We know that there are 49 ballot boxes where votes cannot be accounted for. We have certified evidence to substantiate the fact that dead people voted and people who never lived in Guyana and never came back on March 2nd voted. We saw with our naked eyes that they were missing oaths of identity and they were missing poll books and missing a number of documents. So you can't sit there pretending as though you are our leader, as though you enjoy our when the world knows that you are sitting there on shaky grounds. You are sitting there without an iota of confidence with Guyanese. You are Donald Trump.
Sir, first. German?
Yes. Thank you, thank you, Sharon. You know, Ganesh is very theatrical.
Let's hear your adjectives now. Right, sir.
I say I'm happy in some respect that the the fraudulent administration have seen how the coalition would have led, in the sense that they would have taken government to the people. And now I'm see they're trying to emulate what the coalition would have done, but they're not genuine in their approach. And I'm not just saying that to score political points. If one would have listened to the Mr. Ali, he said that he wants to work with the region. He wants his has administration to work with Region 10. But his very actions is parallel to what he's saying. Because you cannot say you want to work with the region and your appointed REO is not allowing the elected officials of the region to play an integral part in planning the region's budget. This region was won by the APNU AFC, and it is the people who bestow the confidence in those elected officials, and it is those elected officials who would travel the length and breadth of Region 10 to hear the views of the people. And it is those views that people wanted to be captured in the region's budget. But you allowed your REO and the staff to go in a back room and plan for the people. That is not working with the administration. Then you came and you said you are going to give Region 10, or matter of fact, Linden 1,000 house lots. You haven't indicated where these house lots are going to be. You haven't set out a criteria of who is going to be given these house lots. Is it residents of Region 10? Because one is, as one would likely assume, because the house lots are set to be distributed in Linden, it is for Lindeners. But the policy direction or whatever it is that he articulated wasn't clear. It's ambiguous. But that too is questionable, because in 2011, the same Mr. Ali, who was the then Minister of Housing, said in Parliament that he has distributed 20,000 house lots, of which 1,000 house lots was distributed in Amila's ward, and that was never done. So here you come back again with the 2011 dream, and you want to sell it again to the people of Linden. So we question that, because here we have a situation presently where the coalition government, through its regularization of a number of lands that people were squatting on, that were owned by NISI, hundreds of house lots, and the coalition regularized those outlets, set agreements of sale for those persons, and they started to pay. When the Ali administration were installed, they stopped NISIL from accepting the payments. Now, how is it that you are telling the people of Linden one thing, but your government is doing something else? So how can we trust what you're saying when your action goes contrary to what you're telling the people? You can't tell the people you're interested in giving them house lots when some of the residents in the community already have, and you will stop the payments for those said house lots. Legitimate gazetted agreements of sale. His administration has stopped those persons from paying the dues for those evaluated lands. So we're saying we cannot trust Mr. Ali. Additionally, yes, go ahead.
I find it strange that they could even meet at 𝗪𝗪𝗏 House, because after they stayed a day left with 𝗪𝗪𝗏 House in after 2018, after 23
but that's
years,
what was coming at.
the state of degradation. After 23 years, the day left with 𝗪𝗪𝗏 House in. I am surprised. But the people ain't got shame. After 23 years of not doing anything for Linden, here what Ali saying, we need the materials for the construction of these houses to come from the region. The lumber, the sawmill, block makers, carpenters will all be engaged. If you don't have the skills, we will bring the people to train you, so that employment is created for the residents. Like they just wake up. They think it's
no, but if he really is talking about empowering the people, then you should have plugged. I hope. Well, we will see in 2021 budget, but you should have plugged money into LEN so that the people could access small loans. Because the procedure at the banks, the interest loan at the banks is ridiculous. And Len, the infusion of monies that the coalition would have plugged into Len would have helped a lot of people. Now, it is a Herculean task right now to access loans from Len with the remaining funds because the administration in 2020 didn't give Len any money. And I'm certain that they are not prepared to give Len any money in 2021 budget. Prove me wrong. Because if you're really talking about empowering people, then you have to provide the means for them to be empowered. And Len is one such institution that was doing that for the people of the community. So it's hard, it's difficult to trust Mr. Ali when he speaks. His Minister of Agriculture on the 28th of December came to the parliament for supplemental and saying he wants to ensure that the regions have food security. How can you say you want Region 10 that imports 70% of food and you have not invested in fixing the access road to West Hutuk where a lot of agriculture is done? You haven't fixed the 𝗵𝗵 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗵 road to the 𝗪𝗵� River where a lot of people have lands, but they cannot access those lands. And more so, buy the equipment, the tractors, the mowers, and train these people so that they could farm.
You're hitting the nail on the head because when they came back to Parliament recently, MP 𝗪𝗵cie and Darren and Nia, they didn't come back for tractors for Linden. They came back for the tractors for the hinterland. So if you so care about Linden, and if Linden on your front burner, how come you don't come for 50 tractors for Linden and you come for 100 tractors for indigenous communities?
No, listen, Sherrod, I welcome indigenous communities having tractors, but look at the population and help with and do a sensible distribution of tractors, particularly in a region that of like Region 10, where we have almost 60 to almost 70,000 people, and they import a lot of food. So if we really want to ensure that Region 10 has food security, then provide the region with tractors. Linden, the 𝗪𝗵� River, the 𝗪𝗵𝗏 River. We try the three main rivers. So we have access to all of those different areas. We have 16 indigenous settlements in Region 10. So you cannot say, we're speaking on behalf of all of the people of the Region 10, and we need tractors too. The minister
they can't support who is not supporting them. That's how those people think all the time. The old visiting Linden and stuff was a whole facade.
It was a Photoshop event, apparently, because we had the minister of
and they had a nice photo. Sherrod, put the photo back up. Let's see what the photo.
How come it is? We are not.
I don't know those people.
We are not segregating with communities, but how come it is when the people goes to the hinterland, they're going with tractor and grants and so forth. They go to 𝗪𝗵𝗴, they go to Region 3 where Ganesh resides. They go with all kinds of things. But when they go to Tiger Bay, they go with a football and a bat. When they go to Agricola, it's more sports equipment. When they go to Linden, it's promises. What's happening here?
And Sherrod, the point also must be made that the National Assembly, including the coalition, we have no issue with issuing tractors to or buying tractors for these hinterland communities. We fully support an initiative that is going to ease the workload and contribute towards improving communities. But the sad reality is Pauline Sokai never justified why these tractors are urgently needed. Because that day when we were debating and we were examining the requests for the tractors, it was the 28th of December, which was 2 days before the closure of the financial year. And the question was put as to why is it that you deem the tractors to be urgent at this point in time? And she indicated that the community needs the tractor to help them in agriculture work and to fetch their produce and the likes. The question is, how many of these indigenous communities currently have farmlands that were already prepared, produce that were already reaped, how many of these indigenous communities have these systems already in place where you can deem that tractors are needed within 2 to 3 days. And it was asked of her, why not put it in your 2021 budget estimates? So at least you will have a better understanding of what kind of tractor you're buying, what is the purpose behind it, what is it intended to serve, when is it that it's going to reach the community, and all the other questions can be asked and answered properly. But this was a clear case of wanting to spend money as fast as possible. And that is what is happening across this country. Across this country, you have the government putting their hands into the cookie jar, and they are willy-nilly spending without any proper plan, because their intention is to really and truly fool the people, so that when elections are called, they're expecting a majority to vote for them. They are well aware that they do not enjoy the majority of the Guyanese people. They do not enjoy the majority of votes at the last election. They are well aware of that, and that is why they're using public funds right now to try and win people's heart. But Guyanese, as I oftentimes say, are no fool. We are not stupid, and we are not no fool. We are well informed, and we know what is it that they bring to the table. They had 23 years in office. They showed their true colors, especially from the Jagbio era coming down. They showed their true colors. The people resoundingly voted them out in 2015. The people voted them out again. They voted them to stay out in 2020, but they stole their way, and they're squatting there, and they will come out at the next elections, because the people are well informed. The people know that the coalition had an agenda of fostering unity. People know that the coalition has an agenda of bringing this country together. The people know that the coalition has an agenda of ensuring that the majority of people benefit from the wealth of this country. Not like the PPP. They have an agenda of just enriching their friends and cronies. They have an agenda of enriching their brothers and sisters. Look at what is happening at the post office there, the GRO. Edgel's brother is traumatizing staff members there. He is like God onto the GRO. And
another man of God. Another man of God doing wickedness.
Yeah, and all they're doing is embarrassing the holy name of God. But let me tell you, God is not major when the strike comes.
Folks, we are quickly approaching program time. What comes next for Linden, Mr. Chairman? What comes next for Region 10?
One second, I just unmuted the microphone. Well,
no problem. And while you're doing that, I'm going to prep Ganesh for what is to update us on where we are with the elections petition before we go. Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. So I just want to make it clear that the councillors here in Region 10, the RDC particularly, we would have worked diligently to ensure that the required submissions for inclusion in the 2021 budget were provided to the regional administration in a timely manner. And that was consistent with the consultations that I said earlier that we would have had to be made with our constituents across the region. These submissions, those submissions that we would have made, have also been prioritized by the council. And we would have put them into perspective, consistent with the vision for development in the region, national priorities outlined at both the regional and national level. I can tell you now, I have not seen the health budget. In fact, I'm upset because I went to visit the COVID hospital, the Upper Demerara Hospital here in the region. We would have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on these fancy shoots that you gotta walk through and get sprayed. And I understand none is working. And the RHO cannot provide an explanation to us. You understand? So we have to remain resolute.
Vigilant,
great representation for our people. In fact, the boat engine and the boat that you see handed over today was as a result of our outreach program that we had in the 𝗪𝗵취 River at Sand Hills. We recorded those things. We provided the administration with it, and I'm happy that they delivered. And so I would go back when they're handing it over and let the people know that it was as a result of our representation here in the region that we were able to get these things. So we can only hope, and we'll ask that MPs defend and speak up for us in the National Assembly. We have a RDC bill that has been taken out of the budget. We are in a pandemic. We are cramped in current building, and one can only imagine why would anyone take the new building that was placed in the budget and budgetary allocations provided for. None of that has been done for Region 10 this time around. So I don't see how we're going to operate during this pandemic season. Continue in a cramped building. No new RDC building for us. God be with us. We just got to pray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ganesh, where are we on the elections petition? And I'll be happy to hear my co-host Nia's point of view as somebody in the diaspora. How is the diaspora thinking about these elections that are before the High Court? Ganesh.
Personally, I am not confident because I'm not confident in the justice system in Guyana. Not because the coalition did not win the election. I know that the coalition won the election, but we've seen what played out during the many court hearings during the election period from March to August, where the justice system was never in our favor. We could have known that today, if the matter goes before this judge, what the results would have been. So I'm not confident in the justice system, and some of my groups that I'm involved in, they share the same view. So that's the only issue we have. The justice system is not on our side, and that's speaking frankly.
If I can add, Sherrod, what Nia should also be made aware of too is that the PPP have been utilizing taxpayers' money to pay lobbyists in the US to sell a good image of themselves to the Biden administration. So we wanted diaspora to also be aware that taxpayers' money are being used without the opposition being cognizant of where they pull this money from to pay lobbyists in the US to lobby congressmen, congresswomen, and senators to sell a goody-goody image to the Biden administration with the hope that the Biden administration would buy into whatever the propaganda they are prepared to provide them with. So we have to fight this on several fronts, locally and internationally. I know you and other Guyanese like Rickford Burke, Mark Benchcup, and others are doing their part, but definitely more has to be done because the PPP is basically, without regard, spending taxpayers' money that it wasn't allocated for such purposes. So it must be noted.
Thanks, MP. Figuera, MP Mayport.
Thank you. Let me first of all reassure Darren Adams, Regional Chairman of Region 10, that MPs are well informed as to the dilemma that is occurring in your region, Region 7 and Region 4. And I can comfortably tell you, not because I'm here, but Jermaine and Devin, they're doing a fantastic job in terms of representing the people of Region 10, which I'm sure you're aware of. And in fact, all our MPs, they are really holding the PPP to the wheel. And I think the PPP, they recognize that we are not just a simple pushover or a walkover. They have to really come good, and they are very frustrated most of the times when we show up in front of them. Trust me, you can see the anxiety in them, and you can see the passion in their face. In fact, when you have a long-standing politician like 𝗪𝗵𝗴 calling a young MP a fool, that can tell you how frustrated she is. That can tell you how
The
worried
lady with
she
the good
is.
hair.
The Gail with the good hair. That alone can tell you that she is really, really vulnerable at this point in time and will break at any point in time. We are not giving them the road or the leeway to do as they please. We are holding them to the wheel. The sad thing is that they have the majority in terms of number, and that is how they will ultimately win the war. But they are certainly losing the battle. As it relates to the petition, first of all, I want our viewers to understand, our listeners to understand that there are two petitions in the court: Elections Petition 88 and Elections Petition 99. Elections Petition 88 is more of a legal argument. It is more an argument that is constitutional in nature, and it speaks to the validity of Order 60 of 2020. So that is the first elections petition that will be there. Yeah, that deals with the validity of Order 60 of 2020, and there are a series of legal arguments that will unfold concerning that petition. But that is not the petition that really will have the drama, or the petition that will really call for the big shouts and the hullabaloo. The one that we are all eagerly anticipating and awaiting is Elections Petition 99, because 99 will deal with anomalies, abnormalities, and irregularities that were found at the National Count, which was held at the Archtown Convention Center 33 plus days. And we are very optimistic because the evidence is beyond a shadow of doubt. The evidence that is before us is really concretized evidence that can cement the position that fraud took place on March 2nd, 2020. They are certified evidence, not make-up evidence, certified evidence. Information was sought by the chairperson herself. She was the one who asked to verify if indeed these names that we objected to, if these people are indeed dead. And it was verified, and it was written back to her saying that these information is accurate. They're accurate. And also, we asked for the migrants who were not in the country on March 2nd. There is no travel document to verify that they were in the country. So it will be astronomically strange should the Chief Justice, in my view that is, should the Chief Justice go the route of not wanting to proceed with these elections petition. I hear Nia's point loud and clear, and I must say that I also share a similar view. But the difference for me is that when she was operating in a manner that is very partisan, it was at a time when you had, I don't want to say anecdotal evidence, but the evidence were not as strong as you see now. The evidence that you have before you here now in Elections Petition 99, it is so direct that I can't foresee her going the wrong way, but it doesn't mean that she wouldn't, because at the end of the day, she is a human being, right? And you know, we are all human beings, and we are all susceptible based on our moral grounding, our integrity, our honesty, our decency. That is what will determine our action. And oftentimes, they say people can easily be bought who are not grounded in good principle, who are not grounded with honesty, integrity, and decency. So let's hope that the learned Chief Justice does not fall into that category. I am hoping not. But what needs to register and what people need to understand, and Guyanese need to understand, is whether she goes yes or no, it does not take away from the fact that fraud is fraud. It does not take away from the fact that elections 2020 was fraudulently held. Well, I shouldn't say fraudulently held. It was held, but the results that came from it is fraudulent. The results that came from it is illegal. The results that came from it is illegitimate. And that is a fundamental point, a factual point, and irrespective of which direction it goes, that cannot change. I would like to tell the Guyanese people to tune in at 1:30 on Monday, the 18th of January 2021, for the determination as to whether the petition goes forward or not. As I said, Mr. Duncan, I'm very optimistic that it will go forward, but we are left to see what happens.
Well, guys, thanks for that update, Ganesh. I want to thank you all for stopping by. MP 𝗪𝗲, MP Figuera, Mr. Chairman, Deron Adams. I know your plate are full, the plate's full, but I want to thank you for spending this time with us and bringing us up to speed with this this sudden cabinet visit. The 𝗪𝗧 cabinet, the wheres, the pot, the spoon, everything to Linden, and for bringing us up to date on where the elections petition is. Guys, thanks for dropping by.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Nia, what are your thoughts as we go?
The program was a very good program. I'm willing and able to join you next time. As your co-host. I understand that I need to dress better next time so that I could match your fly.
You think I respect these folks who join us every night, whether they are PPP, wherever they come from, and I believe that I'm showing up for work, and I have to dress appropriately personally, and we love when these guys stop by. Folks, I want to thank you all for joining tonight. Nia happens to be on the unfortunate side where the man of the hour is going to show up. She just happens to be on the unfortunate side here.
I'm on the right side, and it's the good time for him to drop.
So, folks, we want to encourage you, as we do every evening before we go. I can
just like tap him in his head right there.
A little tap. To continue to observe all of the COVID protocols that are in place for your health, your safety, and that of your loved ones. Social distance, wear your mask, sanitize. Watch the crowds that you gather in. It shouldn't be more than 10. Don't be like the PPP. When
I was in Guyana in December, I thought COVID was on vacation because it was crazy in Georgetown, Guyana, and I don't understand. Crazy in Georgetown, Guyana.
Yeah. It's like we don't get the vaccine already. So a good night to all. Except one 𝗪𝗲 for awarding this $100 billion contract to this company that just dropped out of thin air.
Good night.
Nia, I'll give you the last word.
Thank you guys for joining us, and I noticed on the stream that it was well over 1,000 of you who were viewing us live, and I thank you for sharing your views with us, and thank you for interacting during the program. I'll be back next time once Sherrod allows me to, and I will interact more with you guys on and off this program. Thank you very much.
See you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for having the testicular fortitude to come ringside and the intellectual aptitude as well. See you guys tomorrow night.